Okay. Transferring paths, learnings from North Park University to PAX program. Waking up to a bright day, I looked over to see my sweetly sleeping roommate, Merida, curled in her bed just an arm's length away in our tiny dorm room, which housed a safe place for our friendship to grow. As a Korean Muslim student in our new Christian college, North Park University, the university that we felt brought us closer together. On the hunt to find more friends, we somehow integrated into probably the most cool and diverse friend group. I have to record my essay. That's okay. That looks so yummy. Our conversations explore the shortcomings of the university, white people jokes, our sex lives, queerness on a Christian campus, the general catch-up, and at the unappetizing dining hall that gave me a sick feeling as I entered. And unfortunately, this feeling followed me around campus, like impending doom. Dread filled my bones as I tried to imagine the next 4 years here. Thinking I messed up the first big decision of my life, my confidence and sense of self shattered, leaving behind a more raw and vulnerable me. Thankfully, I was guided through this in one of my classes as we book a ride called Letters to a Young Poet by Rainier Maria Rilke. I had soaked up every word, rereading until I believed. Rilke wrote, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves." This spoke volumes to me because the questions I had been living with were eating me alive, and the fear of the unknown had crawled into the forefront of my brain. Rilke continues to write, "Do now seek the answers which cannot be given because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing, live along some distant day into the answer." So I began to let go and live. Even so, a while later, I found myself overwhelmed in another class. About 3 weeks out from the end of the semester. Leaving with eyes full of tears, I briskly walked to a hidden stairwell and up to the top floor to conveniently find a bay window waiting for me with gifts of dead ladybugs, dust, and spiderwebs. Sitting there, so sad and lonely, overwhelmed by my new school and even more so by myself, looking over, I noticed my shadow illuminated in the box of light streaming in through the window. Instantly, the cloud over me lifted, and I realized I was never alone because my shadow could be found somewhere nearby, almost every moment. To me, this embodied the culmination of the Holy Spirit and the extension of myself to keep myself company. Soon after, tears became a desert for a dried, salty stream. I packed my things and walked home, noticing my shadow for the second time, surprising myself with a new discovery. The next day, the newfound confidence, I applied to DePaul for a second time and got in. By the grace of the higher education gods, I received a great scholarship because I had already applied during my senior year of high school, and the transferring process would be happening after winter break. I went to North Park University to run on their track and cross-country team, but I wanted to be closer to the city of Chicago, and it wasn't really my vibe. After transferring, but I shout out, North Park is still great for a lot of people, and after transferring, I found myself lost in a sea of students, and coming to another hall, I realized that my elementary education major wasn't for me anymore. So I began living out the question of what my studies would hold. Later, sitting in a class one day, I heard someone mention their major, Peace, Justice, and Conflict Studies. I instantly knew that my question would be answered, and since then, I have followed this winding path guided by professors, authors, and fellow students. I've been learning about the history and theories of peacemaking, conflict resolution, and human rights. From mediation to human rights classes ranging from domestic to international, here are the stops along my PAX road. I entered into this major in hopes of taking part in advocating for solutions to human rights problems and violations around the world, knowing that we need people dedicated to strategically working to make the world more fair and equitable for all people everywhere. As I look back, I am taking my first PAX class, Mediation with Craig Hussein, as he provided material both in professional and personal mediation, laying the groundwork for understanding and navigating complex theories and fostering mutual beneficial resolutions. In mainstream conflict resolution, zero-sum bargaining results in one participant's gain or benefit being exactly balanced by the losses of the other participants. The total amount of resources is fixed, and any gain made by one party comes at the direct expense of the other. While arguably effective in certain scenarios, it perpetuates inequity and a win-lose mentality. Side note, this reminds me of capitalism. So mediation advocates for a shift towards principle negotiation, where your focus is led on interests rather than positions. By separating people from the problem, it encourages parties to articulate their underlying needs and motivations. Mediators create a conducive environment for productive dialogue and joint problem solving. A key to this approach is the concept of expanding the pie, a concept often mentioned by the professor, wherein mediators strive to identify the opportunities for mutual gain by generating options that address the needs and interests of all the parties involved. Mediation moves away from rigid zero-sum outcomes towards solutions that benefit everyone. This emphasis on collaboration and creativity fosters a sense of empowerment among the parties as they actively contribute to reshaping the resolution process. The practical application of mediation principles is outlined by Christopher Morton, The Mediation Process, and it underscores the importance of strategic interventions and empathetic engagement. From setting up parties towards a resolution that honors their both respective interests by reframing the conflicts as opportunities for collaborative problem solving, mediation encourages parties to move beyond positions towards a shared vision of peace and reconciliation. How amazing is that? The following class I took, Conflict Storytelling and Negotiation by Tara Betts, explored concepts through a unique blend of theoretical understanding and practical application. One piece of literature that guided me deeply from the class was Talking Stick, Peacemaking as a Spiritual Path by Stephen V. Baker. Serving as a profound guide to cultivating open-hearted communication, devout listening, and peacemaking practices with transformative framework of sacred circle and utilizing the powerful symbolism of a talking stick to restore harmony. Baker's wisdom and challenges the prevalent cultural approach to conflict, which often results in assigning blame and determining punishment. Instead, the book encourages readers to view conflict as an opportunity to establish deeper connections with others. By learning to speak honestly and listen devoutly, individuals can overcome hierarchical and punitive attitudes towards conflict, paving the way through the three elements that make the peace circle special is sitting in a circle, beginning and ending with a ceremony, and using a stick that contributes to the creation of a sacred space. Open-hearted communication can flourish. Next, in international conflict and peace building, taught by Professor Michaela Caton Guerrero, we took a step and then a deep dive into the conflict analysis, human rights, and the various dimensions of peace studies. Central to our journey was a reading called Being Peace by Thich Nhat Hanh. His teachings are anchored in mindfulness and the acknowledgement of suffering as an intrinsic part of life. In the first words of the book, life is filled with suffering but also filled with many wonders, resonated deeply and challenged the preconceived notions that I had about necessity for external peace and for inner tranquility. So the first thing that he writes is acknowledging that life has suffering. It is important to accept the suffering as part of life and then learn how to live with it. I think we get caught up in thinking that peace requires a peaceful life. The environment and circumstances around us must match the desired peace we imagine. But Han says, we do not need to make a special effort to enjoy the beauty of the blue sky. Do we have to practice to be able to enjoy it? No, we just enjoy it. Each section, each minute of our day can be like this. Wherever we are, anytime, we have the capacity to enjoy the sunshine and the presence of each other and the sensation of our breathing. So, how can we live out this enjoyment in our everyday lives? By practicing mindfulness and becoming in touch with ourselves. Checking in throughout the day can make a world's difference. Well, mediation is to be aware of what is going on in our bodies, in our feelings, in our minds, and in the world. What we are called to do as peacemakers is center mindfulness to cultivate peace for ourselves, which allows us to better enter the world of personal and professional peacemaking. While those highlight the classes and texts that have most profoundly impacted me before I wrap up, I wanted to mention how impactful the PAX internship class, Begin was. The class sessions and seminars cultivated such a safe space for learning. My internship provided me incredible experience for learning as well. Taking the time twice a week to check in with my classmates and explore what it means to be an agent of change, especially in the context of DePaul, provided me with the community I've so been desiring. Knowing that I'm not alone in my struggles and aspirations for change has given me the confidence to move beyond theoretical into applying what we've learned as we start to transition into our professional careers, where we can make the impact that we're hoping for. In tracing my journey from North Park University to the PAX program, I find myself reflecting on the transformative experiences that have shaped my academic and personal growth. While I have faced many challenges, expecting college to be a bit more smooth sailing, this has pushed me to dig deep. Through the guidance of insightful mentors and the exploration of diverse perspectives, I have discovered the power of embracing life's questions and living with intention. And transitioning to DePaul was the best decision I could have made as I embarked on a path that aligned me with my evolving passions, eventually finding my home in the Peace, Justice, and Conflict Studies program. As I reflect, I'm filled with gratitude for the lessons learned and the supportive community that has accompanied me along the way. Each step of this meandering path has brought me closer to my aspirations of being a peacemaker, instilling a commitment to fostering understanding, empathy, and resilience in a world needing healing. As I continue to navigate the intersections of academia, activism, and personal growth, I carry with me the wisdom gained from both institutions and the belief in transformative power of peace. Questions: identity and adversity. Reflect on a challenging period in your life. How did it impact your sense of self and confidence? What did it look like for you to move through this? Rilke's wisdom. In Rilke's quote, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves." Reflect on a powerful time when you found solace in solitude, as I did in the hidden stairwell. How did this lead to growth? References: Being Peace, 2009, Moore, 2014, Bayer, 2016. Thank you. A special note to my class: I'm very sorry that I wasn't there in person, and I look forward to seeing you around campus very soon. It's been lovely to read your seminars, and I'm so excited to jump back in. And this is my personal announcement that we are hoping to find a room for PAX to live in. So we're hoping to make the program into a department. And so if you're willing to help us with this, you can find more information on our Instagram, as we will be updating about the steps necessary to make our program into a department, to get tenured professors, have a safe space where students can come and study and get resources, a board where students can have free reign to post about activities and activism in the community, and a space for workshops to be, maybe a prayer room. It's going to be a good vibe. So I miss you guys. I hope that it wasn't too loud in the background. I'm at a cafe. Okay, miss you. Bye.